Listen, I still love that, y'all. I still love that cha-ching, which means it is Real Money Coach time here on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. And we are excited for you tonight because I got a guest that is going to inspire you, that is going to inform you. And this, you know what, y'all? This is the perfect show and we have the perfect guest because this is our last show of 2022, right? So this is the last Tuesday of 2022. Next Tuesday will actually be into the new year 2023. And there's no better time than to get inspired about what the future holds for you, what you can do in 2023. As a matter of fact, I need you to do this. I need y'all, first of all, you know what we do. Tell me where you're watching from. Tell me what city, what state, where are you watching from? Let me know where you're watching from on this Tuesday evening. It's still a little cold here in Charlotte, but wherever you are, let us know. I just want to just kind of tell you this. Let me tell you something. I want to, first of all, just all of those who are watching, all those who may be watching the recording, you may be watching this on YouTube at a later date. But I just want to thank you for 2022. We've had such a tremendous year in 2022. First of all, I'm looking at in the back room right now. I'm looking at Dante, man. Dante, come on the screen for me, Dante. Can you come on the screen for me, bro? Let me have Dante come on the screen. All right, we got Renee Boykins. I mean, she might be related to our guest tonight, seeing that her name is Boykins and she's from Rochester, New York. That would be my guess. Dante, man, I just wanted to bring you on the screen, man. It's been almost a year that we've been working together, man. And I just want to say, just thank you, man, for coming in. You stepped in and you've just done a marvelous job producing the show. And so, man, just tell the people something tonight, man. Just tell them,
man.
We don't never
First, I just want to say happy holidays to everybody out there, everybody, the Real Money Coach family. Like it's been a fun ride so far, just being on this, being behind the scenes, and every now and again, Tony a surprise out of nowhere, just bring me on, just like he just did, just like he just did just now. But I appreciate,
be camera ready. Be camera ready.
Hey,
be camera ready.
You really gotta be camera ready for here on here. You gotta really be, it's unscripted for real. So, but I really appreciate the opportunity, and it's just I can't wait to next year, because I know next year is gonna be bigger than what we did this year. So,
yeah, we're gonna take it to even higher heights, man. So I wanted to do that because you came in really January of last year, and so now. I mean, it's been almost a year. It's gone by so fast, but I just wanted to just show you a little love, a little appreciation for what Dante Robinson is doing for us behind the scenes. We're going to bring you on the camera more, man, because you got so much to offer, bro. And just glad that you're here, as well as some of our listeners that are dialing in. Dr. Benita Harris, thank you for being here. One of those faithful listeners, Dante. Then we got Ruth Bell is in the house.
Ruth Bell always
in the house. So yes, and there's others out there, man, that are watching. They don't never come in the chat. They don't never tell us where they're watching from. but just the same, man, everybody watches is important. And it's been a great year. It's been a great run for us. And we're just gonna continue to take this to new heights. So thank you for that. I do want to announce a couple things that are happening. Well, and then it just kind of, even if we recap what happened over the last year, we started off the year, we had the book launch. Book launch was in 2/22/22, right? So we had the book launch, and on there we had Dr. Casey Kimbrough, Dr. George Frazier, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, Think and Grow Rich, A Black Choice. We had Boyce Watkins. We had Reagan and Megan Lynch, Jerome J.D. Davis, A.J. Joyner. It was just a packed event with all these powerhouses in financial literacy. If you have not seen it or you want to see it again, go to the YouTube page. There is a 30-minute recap. It was about a 2-hour event, but there's a 30-minute recap on YouTube, The Real Money Coach. And while you're there, subscribe. Invite others to
Go ahead,
subscribe
subscribe.
to the YouTube channel because that's important that we do that. Brittany Reed from Atlanta, Georgia, thank you for being here tonight. And so, we've had all this wonderful thing. So that kind of kicked things off. And then, we had a great summer. The book launch is going well. If y'all don't have the book, make sure you get the book, iPad Your Money, Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money. We had some phenomenal guests, right, all year long. And tonight is no different in having Larry Boykins with us tonight. Larry's going to share some knowledge with us that is going to be absolutely outstanding. So you want to stay tuned for that. So then what happened is somewhere, I don't know, about May or something, I got asked to do a radio show on iHeartRadio. It's internet radio. And so that went well. You all supported that. And so that led to a contract with Praise 100.9, Radio One's station here in Charlotte. And so we've been doing that since July. That's been going phenomenal. It's been absolutely outstanding. I'm having a ball doing the radio show. And so what happens, folks, is those of you who may not be familiar is that on Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m., the radio show is broadcast. And usually what happens is whoever my guest is for Tuesday night is my guest on the radio station, because we just give you a little teaser, a little 7-minute teaser on Saturday for what you will get a full dose of tonight, right? So we just spoon feed you a little bit on Saturday, and then you come here on Tuesday and you get the whole dose. And so that's what's going to happen tonight with Larry Boykins. And so now what we've done is, because I know y'all ain't getting up at 7:30 on Saturday morning, most of it, right? Dante.
Hey, look, I coached you a couple of times, but hey.
So yeah, that's early, right? And if you're on the West Coast, you might as well just forget it, right?
Forget about that.
So what we're now doing, and we have about I think about 12 episodes, previous episodes, as well as going forward on. It's going to be redistributed as podcasts. So once it airs on Saturday morning, then we drop it as a podcast on. Thank you, Dante, for bringing that up. We drop it as a podcast on Spotify. It's not set up yet, but it will be. But we got Apple, we got Spotify, we got Google, we got iHeart, we got YouTube. We also have it on Pandora, Stitch. I mean, all the podcast outlets that you, so wherever you get your podcast, you can go back and you can pick up the radio show where we have a little bit of music, some great information. I usually do some teaching, and then we also have the phenomenal guests. And then, of course, on YouTube, you have the whole catalog of all of our shows since we started in April of 2020. So that's the layout of everything that is happening. So make sure that you download, go to YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's important. We've never really emphasized the importance of the YouTube subscriptions, but if we're going to take this to the next level, we've got to get our subscribers up. We got to get, those type of things going. So make sure you do that, or wherever you get your podcast. The other thing I wanted to mention, backed by popular demand, the masterclass, the iPad Your Money masterclass. Increase, Protect, and Dominate Your Money is the book. And again, if you have not gotten the book, please go to iPadYourMoney.com. If you go there, you order the book at checkout, folks. If you're listening tonight, at checkout, if you use the code IPAD, IPAD, all caps, 100, the book is yours, absolutely free. No shipping, nothing. Everything's covered for you. And so based on the book, I started the master class. It's a 7-week class, really dealing with the 7 main chapters of the book. That is going to start on Monday, January 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern. We did get some requests to move it back an hour, especially again for our West Coast people. So, You can register. It's free. You go to ipadevent.com. You register there, and it's a 7-week course where I really unpack, increase, and protect and dominate your money. And I promise you that you'll learn something new each and every time you go through the 7-week course. So absolutely free. Make sure you register, and we'll get that thing really going. And we're going to have a great time just unpacking things like, the first chapter deals with financial education, and then we get into the risk and rewards of the stock market. I get into taxes. I get into estate planning, insurance, just the whole gamut. The 7 main focuses of the book are covered there. So that's all of that. Did I forget anything, Dante? I got it all.
Hey, you got it all out. You got it all out. And I'm actually trying to implement one of them strategies next year for this debt stuff, man.
Yeah, the debt elimination. We got debt elimination in there as well, as budgeting. And so that's all there. A couple other things that's going to be coming. We're going to actually be within our Facebook group. We're going to be doing some financial intelligence courses. Okay. So we're going to be doing some financial intelligence courses where we'll drill down on things like financial psychology, credit, debt, the whole gamut. So we're going to be doing that inside the Facebook group. So we're going to do 7 weeks of the masterclass, then 7 weeks of financial intelligence classes, and then kind of rinse and repeat and do that again over again. Now, the only other thing I really want to talk about now this is where we need all of your help, is that I've shared on this show and I've shared on my radio show that there is, they said 42% of Americans, 42 of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. 42%.
Man.
I mean, a lot of us can raise our hand, right? Now, if my mentor, George Fraser, says when white America catches a cold, black folks catch pneumonia. So if 42% of Americans have less than 1,000, what do you think that means for black families, brown families, Hispanic, Latino? What does it mean for us? It's probably even a higher number, right? And so that just kind of bothers me. And then the other thing that came out was the study that said that the study said some remarkable things. It said in 2053, the median, which is the middle, right? It's not the average, but the median black wealth will be 0. Black wealth family, the median by 2053, based on its current trends, will be 0. That study also said this. This was a study U.S. policy study. The other thing the study said was this. The study said that it will take 200 years, if ever, for black wealth to catch up with white wealth. Because right now, as of today, for every dollar of wealth in the white community, there's 8 cents of wealth in the black community. 8. In the Latinos community is 25 cents.
Oh, they got a whole quarter on this. God.
Listen, now I ain't hating on anybody.
Right.
But we got to make a difference. We got to change this. And so that's why we're starting the challenge, and you're going to hear it over and over again, Saving Money Challenge, right? Saving Money Challenge, where we are committed to helping at least 1,000 people save at least $100 a month. We're going to show you how to do it. We're going to give you the vehicles to do it, where your money will grow. But we want to get in the habit of being savers and not consumers. And so we're going to start that campaign. The official campaign will kick off on 2/23/23. But you are welcome to start now. You're welcome to start now. Just contact me, schedule appointment, iPadappointment.com. Go to therealmoneycoach.com. You'll see it all there. You can click and we can get you going on that. All right. So that's it, man. That's it for my announcements. Let me do this. On the graphic today for today's show, I titled today's show A Serial entrepreneur. Larry Boykins, right? Larry Boykins, a serial entrepreneur. Now, here's the thing I want to do first is that we all the time throw this word out, I'm a serial entrepreneur. People say that they're a serial entrepreneur, but I don't know if we really know what that means. So what I did is I spent a little time researching what is a serial entrepreneur. And when I give you this definition, if you count the show on Saturday, you will understand why I put that label on this show with Larry. Okay. Now, if you didn't catch the show Saturday, believe me, once he's been out here for about 10 minutes or less, you will know why I'm calling him the serial entrepreneur. Here are serial entrepreneurs. Okay. They are people who start business based on new ideas. They forego the security of a salary job to take on their own endeavor, assuming all the risk in hopes of great rewards. A serial entrepreneur takes on this challenge repeatedly. Once a particular business is established, they delegate the responsibility of its operations and they move into the other ventures. They may even sell their earlier business or at least reinvest the profits into a new business. I see Larry smiling in the because he already know he said this. And so a successful serial entrepreneur can experience windfalls when they sell their companies and receive continuous profits once their business is established. That is what a serial entrepreneur is. It's not someone that just says, I'm starting one thing and they bounce. It's not the shiny object entrepreneur, right? It's like, oh man, this juice thing seems real good. I ain't knocking it. And then this seems real good to sell these clean products, or this sells real. They take a business, they make a profit, and then I think maybe they got a little ADHD, maybe they get a little bored and say, well, shoot, if I could do this with one business, I can do it for the next. And they take profits from the one business and they start another business. And so when I say that Larry Boykins is a serial entrepreneur, he amplifies that. He demonstrates that. Listen, here's his bio. Businesses across several industries, including commercial cleaning, Airbnb, and transportation services. And if y'all didn't see the sprinter on social media that he converted, listen, I'm gonna drive to Atlanta and have him come pick me up at the rest area so that I can ride in this thing, right? So he's got over 10 years of experience working in finance prior to leaving corporate America. He has been a finance director, but this is what I like. And here's the thing, y'all. In the midst of COVID, this brother lost his job, took $700, and now has grown that to over a 7-figure business in just 2 years. That is Larry Boykins. Let's bring him on the stage.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be on your show again, once again.
Man, Larry, how you doing today, bro?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, brother. I was under the weather for a few days, but I'm on the other end now, so I'm feeling much better now.
Man, good. I know when we did the radio show, man, I was also under the weather. When I listened to the recording of it, I was like, man, I could hear myself talking through my nose. That sounded horrible, but yeah, I'm glad you're doing better. I'm doing better. So Larry, man, when I looked up the definition of serial entrepreneur, and after our brief conversation that we had for the show on Saturday, I was like, yeah, this just got lined the title up, because I had actually titled the show that before I actually did the research on what a serial entrepreneur is. And then I was like, dang, that fit him perfectly. So, man, for our people who are watching tonight, and those of your friends and family that may be joining via Facebook or YouTube, tell us who Larry Boykins is. Give us a little rundown of that corporate career, and then we're going to get into the entrepreneurship.
Yeah, absolutely. So I spent a number of years in corporate America. My finance background, kind of rose me through the ranks. I started off as a financial analyst for a large food service company based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. So worked my way through the ranks, became the director of finance. Also, I have an MBA in finance as well. So that was a plus, actually working in the field that I went to school for. So rose through the ranks. Everything was great. Life was great. Got relocated to Atlanta, Georgia, January 2020. And then obviously the pandemic hit, and 6 months later, I was without a job. So going from, a nice cushy corporate job, white collar job, making, $2,000 a week to collecting $300 a week in unemployment benefits, just like that. Single parent, I got 3 children at the time. My teenage daughter was living with me. So, took a huge pay cut. My expenses stayed the same. So I had to figure it out. So, I was faced with the uncertainty, how, I'm gonna pay my bills, how would I put food on the table. So also, just to give you a little background, prior to my finance career, I was in facilities. I worked in facilities as a facility supervisor at a college campus in New York. So when I lost my job and I knew I had to figure out something fast, I leaned up to that knowledge, right, in my prior life. So I started a cleaning company. Started that with $700, and obviously, and also, if I can just put a disclaimer, like you see these guys on social media, Instagram, they'll tell you, click the link in my bio. I call them click the link in my bio guys. If you want to make $1 million in 30 days, click the link on my bio, and they try to sell you a $5,000 workshop or something. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just so passionate about my journey and my story. So, I just want to put it out there. Hopefully it'll motivate and inspire some. I get calls all the time from folks on my social media pages, folks from California, folks from New York, saying that they're inspired by my journey and they're following my blueprint. So what I can tell you is, if you follow my blueprint, I promise that, you'll have similar success, if not greater. So I'm super, super excited to be here.
Man, that's awesome. So Larry, I want to do this, man. Let me back up, because you connected one of the dots for me, right? Because I know that we talked about that you were in finance with the food supplier or food distributor or whatever, and then but then when you lost your job, you started the janitorial business. Yeah. And so I was trying to connect finance with janitorial business, right? But now you kind of brought that together because you worked in a facility prior to that.
Yeah.
So what's so amazing about that to me is God doesn't waste any experience, right? And so you had that to draw back on to then start your business with $700.
$700. So the $700, half of that went to a website. The LLC was about $100, so that's around $450. And then business cards, some flyers, things like that. So that's the $700. So so that's the $700. So now I have an online digital presence, right, with my website, things like that. And then I registered on a platform called Thumbtack Pro. And there's a number of other different lead platforms out there, like Home Advisor, Angie's List, where a company can register on there, and then they'll send leads your way and they'll sell you the leads, right? So that's exactly what I did. Went on Thumbtack Pro, registered my company. From there, I started with residential cleaning. At first, I tried to jump straight to commercial cleaning. I tried to go straight to the jugular, but I wasn't getting any traction, any leads from commercial clients. So I was doing residential cleaning. I did about 10 homes and then got 10 reviews. And then I went to commercial cleaning, and then voila, boom. That's when commercial clients start coming my way. So I don't know if that's the sweet spot, but if you have a cleaning company, register on Thumbtack Pro, get you at least 10 5-star reviews, and then go after the commercial cleaning clients. And that's what I did. And then that's when they start coming my way. The budget, the nice thing about Thumbtack, you can set your budget on there for whatever, is comfortable for you. For me, I put like $200 on there. And then they'll send you leads they'll charge you leads based on the value of the job. So for example, my first commercial client was a restaurant client, and the contract was worth $50,000 over 1 year. $50,000. It was 3 cleanings a week, and it was $50,000 a year. And they charged me about $125 for the lead, a one-time fee. So that's not a bad investment.
That's not a bad investment.
Yeah,
that's not a bad investment at all, man. What I love about what you're doing too is you're actually giving some step-by-step for people, because oftentimes people come in and like you said, they talk about in general what they did, but you're really giving us some detail, and I love that you're doing that. And I think about I thought about a lot, even after the interview. You moved to Atlanta, you're there 6 months, you have your daughter living with you. I mean, that could be, that situation could break a lot of people, right? Because I've gone from $200 down to $300 in unemployment benefits, and I got to look up and say what I got to do. I got to come home and look my daughter in the eye every day and say, okay, how, she's expecting. I mean, she's got her standard of living. I mean, she's with dad or what have you. And so, man, that's pretty awesome, man. So hats off to all the working single fathers out there, as well as the mothers. So, man, tell me, like, you did the Thumbtack. I wrote it down, right?
Yeah, it's all good.
So you did the Thumbtack and you started to do some commercial. So when you were doing those 10 houses, because another thing that you don't see a lot of, at least I haven't seen in my lifetime, you don't see a lot of residential house cleaning men. Most of the time, they're ladies. Mm-hmm. So when you're doing residential, you're kind of in that world that's really dominated by ladies, because the reality is, ladies generally clean better than fellas. I mean, I'm sorry, guys, that's the truth, right? But so tell me a little bit, because I'm wondering, like, what's going through your mind, man? Even from an ego standpoint. I mean, I'm just trying to keep it real, right?
Yeah.
You were in a job that you probably wore a suit, sport coat every day. You're getting $2,000, and now you're rolling up your sleeves, going in somebody's house, cleaning their toilet.
Yeah. To be honest, it was like I saw 10 years like flash right before my eyes, right? Because it brought me back from a time when I was, a facility supervisor in New York, and my crew is cleaning toilets and things like that. And for me to go to business school and get an MBA and work my way up the corporate ladder to go, I don't want to say back down to like where I started from, but in a sense I did. So, it took me a moment. It was a very, very humbling experience. Let's put it that way. But once I got to, the commercial clients, right? My first commercial client was a $50,000 contract. 2 weeks later, I got another commercial cleaning contract. This client had Airbnbs. So they had 13 Airbnbs in Atlanta. Actually, it was in Buckhead. And that contract was valued at about $70,000. So now I got $50,000 plus $70,000. That's $120,000, business. So that kind of made me feel a little bit, more whole, if you will. But at first, it was a very, very humbling experience. But once I was able to get some of those high dollar contracts under my belt, I felt like I was whole again. But it was a very humbling experience, if you will. But now, I have 8 employees and 6 of them are women. so absolutely.
I got you. So, man, and so what I'm saying is, I'm taking this prior experience, of a facility supervisor, and now you put the finance degrees, right? Masters, MBA, all that into running your own business.
Yeah.
And now it's almost like you take those two worlds, you merge them together, and what you were doing for the corporate employer, you're now doing for yourself. The same talent and education and all those things that you did for them, you're now doing it for your own enterprise.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of the skills that I learned in corporate America and, in business school, they were transferable, right? I knew to keep my labor below 40%. Supplies, I try to keep that around 10%, things like that. So absolutely, those skills really, really helped me, scale my business in a fairly fast rate, if you will. So even to this day, I try to keep my labor below 40%, even when I'm bidding out on jobs. I always factor in labor 40%. And I always try to start at 20% profit margin, right? Because
Gotcha.
if you can't make 20%, I mean, you might as well just dump your money in the stock market, right? And just, with compounded interest and things like that. So that's my threshold is 20. And then I go from there. Obviously it could be greater than 20%, but I try to start at 20%. If anything less than 20% just is not a good business decision for me. So yeah, a lot of
but that makes sense, man. Because I always say this is if it doesn't make money, it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So a 20% profit margin, and what I like about that is you go in with the end goal in mind. Stephen Covey says start with the end in mind, right? And the 7 habits of effective people. But here's the thing is that it's not like you said, I'm going to make an 80% profit or something unrealistic, but it's got to be at least at that 20% threshold profit wise.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So as you're doing this, and one of the things that we talked about was how multiple businesses, and one of the things that you mentioned on the radio show was about these businesses being related. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing I try to do in any business is create value and what's called a value proposition, right? You want to make your company, your business so attractive to clients, right? That, it's really hard for them to go to another company. So, for example, for the cleaning business, when I had my Airbnb client, they had 13 Airbnbs in Atlanta, and I already had an Airbnb in Charlotte. So then I go, I can have an Airbnb here in Atlanta too. How about, I'll start some Airbnbs here in Atlanta. I got the cleaning company, so I'm already set up and ready to go. So I can, use my cleaning company as a client of mine, as a customer of mine as well. So the Airbnb and the cleaning company is related. And then I noticed that the guests that were being dropped off at the Airbnbs, they were being dropped off via Ubers, Lyft, taxis, things like that. So I'm like, how about, I start my own like shuttle service, if you will, and I can like partner with my commercial client and pick up their guests from the airport and bring them to the Airbnbs. So that's how I started.
Back up.
I want all the money. I want it all.
Larry ain't leaving no coins on the table.
Let me tell you something. So in business school, there's a thing that's called vertical integration. If you don't know it, look it up, right? And that's pretty much where, like, for example, Netflix is their whole business model was based on licensing, right? Buying the rights and licenses from the movie studios, right? So they can show their movies on their platform, on Netflix platform. Now Netflix is shifting to, showing their own movies. So now they're into the movie industry. They're making their own movies and docuseries and things like that. So they're controlling the content, they're controlling the quality, everything. So that's pretty much vertical integration. So that's what I try to do with the cleaning company, and then branch off to Airbnb, which I can still utilize those resources from the cleaning company. And then the transportation company, I can utilize that resource for my Airbnb guests. And then the event planning piece, where I have an event center, I know clients have to be dropped off at the venue with their party or whatever. So now I have my own party bus. They can use my transportation business as well. So it's like I'm not leaving any coins left on the table. So I'm not leaving.
So here it is. So I fly into Atlanta. Culture
Transportation
picks me up. Your company picks me up, takes me to an Airbnb that you own, that your company cleans. That transportation company then picks me up, takes me to an event that's held at the event center you own.
Bingo.
And then reverse it back.
Now,
rinse and repeat.
Is the food we also getting catering too? We got food too. We getting food.
Not yet. I don't know a thing about cooking. So
look. I
haven't gotten that far yet.
But I think that's dope, man. That is really brilliant to take and to take what you learned intellectually through the class book. Because sometimes what happens is that we study things, but we never bring those things that we study into application. So you're taking the book knowledge, taking it into application, and now you linking all these things together. And like I said, I saw on I think it was Facebook, because I'm not sure we hooked it on Instagram yet or not. But I saw how you took the Sprinter and you converted it over, and I'm like, shoot, man. I think it was one of your relatives said, are you gonna pick me and Mama up in that at the airport? I'm like, shoot, I want her to pick me up in that at the airport. Right? So that's pretty good. And so tell us a little bit about, because you dropped something else in on us. You dropped in the event center. So tell us a little bit about the event center.
Yeah, so I have an event center in Metro Atlanta. It's about 4,500 square feet. It holds about 250 people. I started that about 5 months ago. And, within 5 months, I already booked, 52 events, right? I'm already at about 80K within 5 months. So if you do the math, that's on average about 15,000 a month, right? So that adds another, 200 grand a year, to my portfolio, right? So I rent it out for baby showers, weddings, birthday parties. I even got a commercial client who rents it out every other Wednesday for team meetings, right? During the week, right? 6:30 in the morning. So talk about passive income. I'm in the bed, sleeping still, and I got a client that's at my venue, right? Utilizing, my space, and I'm earning money literally in my sleep. So it's,
is this a commercial client that you're also doing commercial cleaning for?
I'm not actually.
Okay. I'm like, okay, now we're ready.
I'm getting there though.
Well, and then the other thing too is, of course, when you have a event venue, that's got to be clean.
Absolutely. So
serviced as well. So where is the venue?
It's in Marietta, Georgia. It's right off of 75. It's a good 25-minute ride from downtown Atlanta, 30 minute, obviously depending on traffic from downtown Atlanta. So it's in a prime location, right? So, it's in East Cobb County, which is a very, affluent community, so, I'm able to charge a premium because of, the area. Household income there is around 65,000. So, it's a prime location. Also another tip, when you're looking for commercial space, right? I try to look for, big box companies like the Home Depots, Walmarts, things like that, because they do a whole analysis when they're looking for property. They're doing a whole analysis, right? They want, you know, average, household income, per capita, all of these things. So,
Growth rate, all
yeah,
this infrastructure,
exactly.
all that.
Yeah, so I let them do all of the heavy lifting, right? So when I'm looking for a spot, I'm looking for, a Chick-fil-A, a Home Depot, things like that. And then, it's all golden from there.
And
So
you're just finding you a spot nearby.
exactly.
So do y'all understand why a serial entrepreneur kind of fits this dude tonight, right? With blank on us.
I lost you.
All right, there we go.
Little technical difficulties.
Sorry about that. I was getting a call coming through.
Oh, okay.
Somebody trying to get a ride. Somebody trying to get a ride in.
Trying to book the
wow,
culture, right?
Right. So man, that's pretty dope. And so how I know you lived in Charlotte, but where are you originally from? New York, if I remember correctly. Was it Rochester?
Yeah, upstate New York. Yeah, Rochester, New York. It's the home of Kodak, Xerox, Bosch Alarm. Born and raised there. I moved from there about 7.5 years ago. In 2015, I moved away. Moved to Charlotte, North Carolina. Stayed there for about 4 years, and now I've been in Atlanta going on 3 years.
Okay.
Yep.
So you moved to Charlotte really probably about a year after I did then, because we moved here in 2014. So
yeah, I moved in January of 2016.
Gotcha. So man, for someone who's watching that I think truly they are inspired tonight, right? Because I'm inspired by your story and all that you're doing and how you're lining things up. What would you tell someone who's watching tonight that has a dream, a goal? They want to be an entrepreneur. What give us a few steps that you would tell them, do this, then do this. Give us a couple of those, the first couple of steps on the blueprint, on Larry Boykins' blueprint. I'm giving you this Boykins blueprint to business. Okay, I like that. That sounds like a book, brother. Boykins blueprint to business. Yeah. Give us a couple of those steps in the blueprint to business.
Yeah, the first thing, I mean, if you have an idea, right, you want to make sure it's feasible, right? And then, also, like I said about my threshold is 20%. Is it going to be, bring you in a 20% profit margin? If so, move to the next step, right? Then I try to look for low barriers to entry, something that's going to be low startup costs, is not really difficult to enter into that industry. You're not going to, need a whole lot of, permits or, regulations, things like that. So like for me, it was the commercial cleaning company. It only, cost me $700 to start. So it was very low startup cost, very low risk. And the profit margin was there, right? So, now you're there, and then you want to just try to create value, look for value proposition opportunities out there. For example, my cleaning company, I have a Montessori school client, and they have 3 schools in Atlanta area, and I do the cleaning service for all 3. And I offer other services as well. Like I created a handyman position for my son at the time, right? So now that's another stream of income. And then I created a lawn service, so I take care of the lawn for the client as well. This past weekend they had a huge flood with their sprinkler systems being activated. We did flood cleanup. So that's around 3 to 4 different revenue streams in that one business. And then, you make yourself so attractive to the client that it's really hard for them to replace you. It's hard for another company to come behind you and offer all of these different services. So, that's what I would tell your listeners. Try to create value, put yourself in the client's shoes. How can you add some value to them, and how you're going to be able to give them a really, really good experience. I mean, that right there goes a long way. Also, for the entrepreneurs out there that is looking to start a cleaning company like myself, one of the things I look for is national clients, right? Because that right there is where the gold is. You get a national client, they have footprint all over the country, right? So, they have multiple locations all over the country. They have the budget, right? And they have the stability. So if you can get a national client, I mean, you're really doing well. I mean, you will really, really, really do well. So, look for a national client, and look for ways to add some value. And that's what I would tell your listeners out there.
Well, I love that, because in my 25 years of doing financial services, particularly on the insurance side of that, we would always say the more lines of insurance you have with a client, the more likely they're going to stay with you, right? So if I have a client and I have their auto insurance, I have their homeowners insurance, I have their life. Why do you think State Farm, Allstate, AAA, all these companies have all these different insurance? Now, most of them, their bread and butter is on the auto side, maybe the homeowner side.
Yeah.
But you take a State Farm or Allstate or AAA, they also offer life insurance. They offer these other things that's not their profit margin, but it's an added value, right? And you basically said the same thing. It's like, if I do the lawn, if I provide the handyman services, if I also do the regular commercial cleaning, now I have 3 lines of business with that one vendor or that one client.
Yeah.
And I can do that cheaper than if they were to go out and hire each of those things individually.
Right. Exactly.
So they're like, man, we can't get rid of culture, right? Keep culture going. So what by the way, I know culture, transportation, culture events, I believe, right?
Yes.
And what about the janitorial business? What's the name of it?
Hygienic Cleaning Services, LLC.
Hygienic Cleaning Services.
Yeah.
So Larry, have multiple streams of income, and vertical integration was one of your tips, right?
Yeah.
And then looking for larger clients, that may have footprints in multiple locations, and giving value. All these types of things are things that can help sustain and scale your business.
Exactly. Absolutely. And then, if you have a family, if you have children, the nice thing about, your business, you can employ your children, and tax-free, up to $12,000, up until the age of 22. So you could put your children on the payroll, and it's completely tax-free. So,
right, because as long as they're making less than $12,000 a year, which is a standardized deduction, then they're not going to pay any taxes on it, and you get to write off everything that you've given them.
Exactly. Yep.
So
absolutely.
Leverage.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing, right?
So I got a question. So is there like a cultural package like that includes everything, or so like how do people book the package, like packages?
Yeah, for the event center you're talking?
I'm just talking like if somebody was coming to like Georgia and they just said, look, I just want I want to be picked up, I want the Airbnb, I want the whole works, I want the work. Yeah. Is there like a package for that?
I don't have a package for that, but what I do is I create a lot of Facebook ads, right? And Google ads as well. So if someone is looking for a sprinter in Atlanta, they type in sprinter, and chances are my sprinter is going to pop up. because I just had a client last week, Tuesday. That's exactly what he did. Type in Sprinter and culture transportation popped up, right? And, and then, when I talk to clients, now I'm pitching my other, businesses as well. Hey, I have a venue, I have, Airbnbs, things like that. But that's primarily how folks, are able to find me. Just, a quick Google search,
So have you done, is it CEO or what do they call it? The optimizing so that you come up
Yeah,
high in the Google.
SEO, yeah, search
SEO, there
engine
you go. Thank you,
optimization.
helping me out.
Yeah.
So have you done some of that type of work or had that type of work done
Yeah.
so that you are high on those searches?
Yeah, I've done some of that, but I'm really focused on, Google ads. I'm getting a lot of mileage from that, from the Google ads. Actually, Facebook too. I would say 90% of my clientele for my event center is coming from Facebook, and those ads are relatively cheap. You could spend, $5 a day, right? 35 bucks a week. And you can capture the audience of 2,000 people in a week for $35. So I'm finding some success with that. So that's where I spend most of my marketing dollars, with the Facebook ads.
Okay. And that kind of brings me back, and I know we get the hour goes by so fast, man. But that brings me way back to something you said in the very beginning when you started the janitorial. Is you talked about Thumbtack Pro and paying for leads. I think so often people don't want to spend money on advertising. They don't want to spend money on lead generation. What's your? I mean, I kind of have a feeling, but what's your thoughts on those things?
You have to spend money to make money. I mean, that is absolutely true. You have to spend money to make money. So what I did, I mean, those leads aren't cheap. Like I said, I started with $700. Obviously, it costs more than that over time, right? I probably spent in total for leads on Thumbtack probably $3,000 over the course of, the year, let's say, right? But what I did was to try to offset that. I took on smaller jobs like garage cleanouts, junk hauls, right? I mean, the old saying goes, one person's trash is another person's treasure. And that's absolutely true. So, like, for example, you could do a average size garage clean out, and charge around $200. So now I got $200 to pay on leads. So very, very seldom did I have to go in my actual pocket to pay for the leads. I picked up some of the smaller jobs to try to pay, for the leads for the bigger jobs, if you will. And then also with the junk haul, you can get a U-Haul truck and, you factor that into the cost with the client. And then, you can take that stuff to the salvage yard, right? And they'll pay you to dump your junk, right? So now that will pay for the truck and, things like that. So that's what I did. So I spent very little money of my own money, to get those high dollar contracts. But it's absolutely true that, it costs money to make money. So.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and then the other thing, Larry, that I'm sure is part of your story is also the sweat equity, of what you put in of your own time, energy, we say time, talent, and treasure, right? So it takes all three to be successful. You got to devote your time, talent, and treasure to make it happen. And again, I think it's amazing, your story, and I got a good lead for you, man. When you're ready to write your book, my boy will help you out, man. I don't know if you know AJ Joyner, but he's an awesome.
I'm familiar with AJ.
You familiar with AJ? I work with AJ on my book, man, and he's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. He really is to work with.
I'll definitely have to check him out.
Yeah, check him out. Tell him the Real Money Coach sent you. So, man, last word, man, as we are closing out. Dante, did you have any last question you want to ask Ask.
I just been like a sponge right now, just soaking it all up. Like I'm ready to just, cause I know the mindset that he's doing, and it's like I'm kind of like in that same way right now, where with this whole media thing, like kind of like I know I can do the streaming part, but now I'm trying to like turn into a media like center. So like I'm trying to get the camera, get the marketing stuff for the printing press for the t-shirts. So if you got any t-shirts pressed out, I just make it so you have like a one-stop shop, so that way you get all those dollars. So yeah, I'm because I went to school for music business management, but at the end of the day, after like I graduated, I just cut that music part off because I've been dealing with more music business management than anything. So I'm just trying to take those tools, and I've definitely heard that vertical
integration.
Yeah, that vertical integration before.
Absolutely. And so, man, and we've had some great comments come through. Excel Boykins, it's shared no longer. It's the limit, the sky. Dream big, right? And I think sometimes that's what we don't dream big enough. Dr. Benita Harris said, "Amazing entrepreneurial journey. Congratulations." And Ruth Bell says, "Congratulations, Larry. You've had an amazing journey. So very proud of you." And so, man, I am I'm very excited, very proud that you are part of the show, part of our journey now. So you forever part of the Real Money Coach family.
Awesome.
So when I show up in Atlanta, so, Larry, I'm here, bro. I'm here. Where you at?
For the culture.
For the
Let
culture.
me know when you're in town. I have my driver pick you up, man.
Oh, for sure,
Roll
for
out the
sure.
red carpet, literally.
Hey,
so.
Don't say nothing now. Don't. So I love it, man. So Larry, I'm gonna give you the last word, man. Anything as you part, anything else you want to share at all?
Yeah, in order to be big, you have to think big. And I think my brother had, mentioned, that you have to think big. That is absolutely true. I didn't imagine in my wildest dreams that, I'll be where I'm at today, 2 years ago. Right. So take a leap on faith. And, if you have an idea, go for it. Right. The worst thing you'll find out is it didn't work. And if it doesn't work, right, figure out a way how it can work, if you do it again. Get off of that fence, get out there. There's a lot of money out there to be made. And, there's a business, a company, a successful business with your name on it. So go for it.
Well, here's something, man. Mindful Marathon, I think it says. Great conversation. Looking forward to the conference. I'm glad whoever mindfulness is, because I did see something on social media of a conference. I'm not sure if you're hosting or if.
Yeah.
Can you tell us just I mean, we didn't talk about it, but I think we should and let people know about this conference.
Yeah, absolutely. So January the 28th, I'm giving a business conference at my venue, January 28th. So I'll have a host of different speakers from various disciplines, a business attorney, accountant, business credit professional, financial planners, a nutritionist, a realtor, social media content creator, a whole list of range of, different people. Actually, another important piece is mental health. We'll be covering that as well. So it's going to be an all-day event, January the 28th in Marietta, Georgia. I'm going to have breakfast, lunch. There'll be an after party afterwards, open bar. So, and I'm pretty much sponsoring the whole thing out of my pocket because, I'm very passionate about, sharing the knowledge, putting, getting our people to the next level. So, I would like to have everybody come out and, I'm not looking to make a dime off it. I just, I get my gratitude from, just sharing the knowledge. Right. So
and
January 28th.
Yep. Registration is how much?
So registration is $149. They can use my link on Eventbrite. They can type search Big Business Conference on Eventbrite and use my code Larry 2023, and they'll get a 10% discount. So I would love to see everybody there, January 28th.
Love it. Thank you, Mindfulness, for bringing that up, because I did see that and want to make sure that we got that in there. Alice Martin said she's mesmerized, right? And she's going to share this with a young family member. And so, again, man, we just want to thank you for being part of the show. Hang out in the green room as we close out the show, because I just wanted to make sure that we properly thank you, say goodbye, and all that good stuff. So you guys have been watching the Real Money Coach show here live on Facebook, YouTube. Make sure that you tune in Saturday mornings, 7:30 a.m. or wherever you get your broadcast. And then we'll be right back here each and every Tuesday with phenomenal guests, like the one that we were blessed with tonight, Mr. Larry Boykins, the serial entrepreneur. So with that, I had to put that emphasis on serial entrepreneur. So, man, thank you again, and we look forward to continue to work with you and be a part of you. Terrence Oliver, thank you for being here. His brother's got it going on as well. He and his wife are doing some phenomenal things. And remember, you can also catch us on wherever you get podcasts. You won't get this full hour show. You got to go to YouTube to get that if you want to rewatch the full hour show. But you can get the portion that was done on the radio, 7-minute interview that we did with, I think it ended up being a little bit more than 7 because we couldn't cut it off. That was on the radio show. You can get that any place that you get podcasts. And with that, we're going to shut it down. Dante, take us home. Y'all. Hey. And listen, let me just say this because I won't see y'all before next year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.